Eddie Hearn is trolling Deontay Wilder at this point. Because in this interview, he's saying that Andy Ruiz knocks Deontay Wilder clean out in a one-sided fight. Now, is that possible? Well, yeah, it's possible. It's heavyweight boxing. Almost anything is possible. But is it likely? I don't think so. And the real question is, does Eddie Hearn really think that that outcome is likely? I don't believe that he does. I think that Eddie Hearn is trying to get back, and he's having fun doing it, at Deontay Wilder for all the stuff Wilder said about him over the years, for all the stuff that Wilder said about Anthony Joshua over the years, for messing him and AJ about, for turning down the DAZN deal, all that kind of stuff. Eddie Hearn is having fun trolling Wilder, poking him in the ribs, saying stuff like this. Because, yes, Deontay Wilder is a foolish man, and he talks a whole heap of rubbish, but he's still a good fighter. Let's not kid ourselves here, people. Deontay Wilder always was a good fighter, and he still is a good fighter. So, against Andy Ruiz, is that a fight Ruiz could win? Yes. But it's a fight Wilder could win too. Wilder is much lighter on his feet than Anthony Joshua. He only weighs, less than 230 pounds. He may not have the overall punch variety and quality that AJ has, but he's light on his feet and he's very awkward. Andy Ruiz is not 6'9" like Tyson Fury. He's a much shorter man with slower feet, with shorter arms. So he's obviously going to try and walk Wilder down. But I don't think it will be as easy for him to get close to Wilder. And Wilder's very skittish the way he moves around the ring, and sometimes a guy who's unorthodox like that can be very difficult to read. You know, I remember Chris Andre talking about how Deontay Wilder's fighting style is sometimes so chaotic that it actually confuses the opponent. And I agree with that. So for a guy like Andy Ruiz, he doesn't have the greatest head movement. Maybe he's going to improve a lot under Eddie Reynoso. Hopefully he does. But I'm just thinking of the version of Ruiz who fought AJ the first time. Never mind the version that fought AJ in the rematch. The one who faced AJ first time around. That version of Ruiz, he doesn't have much head movement. He stands straight up. He was getting caught with clean power shots in the first 2 rounds against AJ. And even though AJ is more sophisticated and two-handed than Wilder in his approach, Wilder's still pretty skillful and sneaky at landing his right hand. The one trick that he has. They call him a one-trick pony, but as Paulie Malignaggi always likes to say, he may be a one-trick pony, but it's one hell of a trick. So, yeah, I personally don't believe that Hearn genuinely thinks that Ruiz wallops Deontay Wilder in a one-sided fight. I think that he probably, like me, thinks that's very competitive. Or else, why would you want to see it at all? Who wants to see a one-sided fight? I want to see good fights, competitive fights. And that's what I think Wilder versus Ruiz is. Because Wilder is such a foolish character and talks so much rubbish, a lot of people don't like him, but they allow their dislike or their hatred for him to cloud their judgment about him as a fighter. You know, Hearn is talking about, oh, Wilder's not. And by the way, I don't think Hearn is doing that. I think there's a lot of boxing fans doing that. I think Hearn knows how good Wilder is, but he's just getting back at him with a little bit of trolling and what have you. Because this is the kind of stuff that certainly Bob Arum has been saying about AJ. But even a lot of those PBC guys, you know, the other fighters, Errol Spence, they all had something to say about Anthony Joshua. And they were all bigging up Deontay Wilder. So I think Eddie Hearn feels like it's his turn to get back at all those guys now by making out as though Deontay Wilder's no good and all the other heavyweights are going to smash him to pieces and what have you. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Maybe you agree with Eddie Hearn. Maybe you think Andy Ruiz genuinely would wallop Deontay Wilder in a one-sided fight. as I said in a recent video I did with Jack Napier, I think Ruiz would have to fight his usual fight, but be very careful. Make sure he keeps the left hand up, because he normally fights with his hands up anyway, but make sure that guard is extra tight. He keeps that left hand up and just pressure Wilder with his feet. Get Wilder to expend energy constantly by flailing away, because when you close Wilder down, he will flail away. So let him flail away, and don't be too keen to counter straight away when he's flailing. Maybe leave it a couple rounds. Make him feel comfortable flailing away, and then you can catch him from that position. So I think Ruiz would have to fight a patient fight against Wilder. But yes, it's winnable. I just think it's not easy. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out.